Hello, everybody, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for August 8th, 2025. It's a time machine episode. I am MayorWatt. I run ohmTown.com. The visualizer is kind of nuts right now, but that's okay. That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight. Today, we're going to be talking about, and it's Season 4, Episode 220. And again, it is a time machine episode. Today, we're going to be talking about that Tencent Survival Game already purged content. OpenAI brings back old model after complaints. Hackers went looking and, unsurprisingly, found problems. A classic car auction with all the things. Air Bud returns. Maine Lobster Festival tries to stop a food truck and gets denied. Public sculpture relocation doesn't get traction. The rise, fall, and rise again of Claire's Boutique. Now just Claire's. Power bank goes rogue and fills plane, and this nearly flipping Microlino. That and more, powered by ohmTown.com. Go over, sign up, sign in, become a citizen, and enjoy today's show. Interesting. All right, let's get into it. Again, today is August 8th, 2025. Time machine episode. Mayoral duties are keeping me from, doing the show when it's supposed to be done. So I have to get into the time machine and fix things. I have to go back in time. That's if nobody's ever heard of that, that's Back to the Future. All right, let's do this. So the first article is over in WarCrafters. So this is the front page of ohmTown, but this is the first article that we're going to be talking about today. It's over on the WarCrafters channel, which is a Sunday weekly show that we do here in ohmTown. This is just one of 7 podcasts and live shows that we do. I happen to not be able to do them live in the conventional sense, so they get posted over on YouTube. And turned into a podcast episode. So be sure to type in !pod over on Twitch. YouTube has it always embedded in the show notes. All of our podcasts and the show notes have the links that we're talking about today. The Tencent Survival Game being sued by Sony quietly purges most Horizon-like content from its Steam page. Bumps release date to late 2027. So they noted, and by they, I mean PC Gamer noted, Light of Motoram, first unveiled in late 2024, that looked a lot like Horizon Zero Dawn, at the point that they were also wondering whether it might earn the ire of Sony. Well, it took a better part of a year, but sure enough, Sony eventually filed a lawsuit against Tencent, the parent of Motoram studio Polaris Quest, calling the game a slavish clone. Andy Chalk over at PC Gamer put this article together. It looks very much like Tencent does not want to tangle with Sony on this one. Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, Tencent is a powerhouse juggernaut. Unstoppable force, pretty much. And they're not sure that it has at least a few lawyers on its speed dial, but it's sure starting to look like it doesn't want Sony's trouble draw its ire. So, quote, in a world overrun by colossal machines, explore this vast open world, build your own base of operations, advanced technology, train mechanimals, and take on formidable bosses. The Light of Motoram Steam page originally said via the Internet Archive, starting from the primitive age, forge a new path of development, defy machination, survive with mechanimals, not mech animals like the McDonald's animals, mech animals. Now, however, it sounds much more like a conventional survival game. Quote, make smart use of everything around you to stay alive and face off against formidable bosses. Every step is fraught with danger and requires courage. Only by overcoming the challenges of survival can you carve out a place for yourself in this unforgiving land. This is kind of interesting. I mean, the graphics look like they are either AI generated or at least a pretty slavish clone of Horizon Zero Dawn. Anyway, pretty interesting. Go over and check it out over at PC Gamer, but go through all roads lead to ohmTown, through ohmTown, out to the sources. All news, no noise. The next article is over in the Wanted channel. That is it's a Saturday show. It's a weekly show that we talk about gadgets and gear. WarCrafters is all about first-person shooters, primarily base building, survival, crafting, gaming in general, but I want to focus it more on first-person base building, survival, crafting games. Anyway, Wanted is where the next article is. It took just 24 hours of complaints for OpenAI to start bringing back its old model. The article is by Matt Novak over at Gizmodo.com. And I actually want smart glasses that are tied into OpenAI so that I can get data in real time just by asking questions and not having to break something out like a tablet or a phone. So how much do people hate what happened with GPT-5? Altman now says they're bringing back the last model for paid users. Will let Plus users choose to continue to use 4.0. We will watch usage as we think about how long to offer legacy models for. Altman also wrote that the company is going to double the GPT-5 rate limits for ChatGPT Plus users and blamed the fact that a new model seemed dumber on the auto switcher breaking. The CEO also said that they're going to change the UI to make it easier to switch between different models. Rolling out to everyone is taking a bit longer. It's a massive change at big scale. Big scale! For example, our API traffic has about doubled over the past 24 hours. Yeah, people think that it's going to be artificial general intelligence that's going to be available to them, but that's not the case. Anyway, so what's the big deal with the ChatGPT-5 OpenAI GPT-5 rollout? They say it's been a disaster. Altman says that ChatGPT is now like having a superpower and the equivalent of a legitimate PhD level expert in anything, any area you want on demand that can help you with whatever your goals are. Not only because GPT-5 still fumbles basic questions, but because it seems to be breaking a lot of the workflows according to complaints that are posted on Reddit. So I guess PhD level indeed. The thing that I tell people is this thing has absolute recall. I mean, it may not be the right context, but boy, it's grabbing whatever it wants from anywhere it wants and has the world's knowledge at its fingertips. So the user wrote that 4.0 wasn't just a tool for them. It helped them through anxiety, depression, some of the darkest periods of their life, and had this warmth and understanding that felt human. I know somebody that uses the ChatGPT as their advisor, counselor, a therapist, essentially. They confess everything to it, to which I said you should not. Anyway, the next article is over in RealityHacker. Again, that's one of our weekly shows on Saturdays, first thing. Hackers went looking for a backdoor in high security safes and now can open them in seconds. Pretty much, you build a better mousetrap and smarter mice show up. Security researchers found 2 techniques to crack at least 8 brands of electronic safes used to secure everything from guns to narcotics that are sold with SecureRAM Pro Logic locks. The article is by Andy Greenberg over at Wired.com. And so, yeah, it doesn't really matter. If there is a way to circumvent security, it will be found eventually, short of a dog. And even then, throw it a bone. So they decided to figure out, right? Politics aside, Rowley and Omo were taken aback to read that it was so easy for law enforcement to penetrate a locked metal box, not even an internet-connected device, that no one but the owner ought to have the code to open. So how is it possible that there's this physical security product and somebody else has the keys to the kingdom? So they decided to try to figure out how that backdoor worked. In the process, they'd find something far bigger, another form of backdoor intended to let authorized locksmiths open not just Liberty safe devices, but the high security SecureRAM Pro Logic locks used in many of Liberty's safes, and at least 7 other brands. Yeah, not the best. So at DEF CON Hacker Conference in Las Vegas today, Omo and Rowley made their findings public for the first time, demonstrating on stage that 2 distinct methods for opening electronic safes sold with SecureRAM Pro Logic locks, which are used to protect everything from personal firearms to cash to narcotics in pharmacies. So it says this attack is something where if you had a safe with this kind of lock, I could literally pull up the code right now with no specialized hardware, nothing. All of a sudden, based on our testing, it seems like people can get into almost any Securum ProLogic lock in the world. Interesting. The Reset Heist demo is what it's called, and Code Snatch demo. 2 different ways of doing it. So only after obtaining pro bono legal representation from the EFF Coders' Rights Project did the pair decide to follow through with their plan to speak at Securum's vulnerabilities at DEF CON. Oma and Rolly say that they, even now being careful not to disclose enough technical detail to help others replicate their techniques, while still trying to offer a warning to safe owners about 2 different vulnerabilities. So I'm going to jump over it because the real nuts and potatoes of this is that they figured out a way, and it's usually programmatic or it's physical. There's 2 different ways, really. The third is the human fail, right? Somebody else knows it and I gamify it so I can figure out a way to get that code and then I can use the code. Then there's physical and programmatic, but beyond Liberty Safe, Secure and ProLogic locks are used by a wide variety of safe manufacturers, including Fort Knox, High Noble, Fire King, Tracker, Pro Steel, Rhino Metals, Sun Welding, corporate safe specialists, and pharmacy safe companies Senox and NarcSafe, according to Omo and Raleigh's research. So it began with the same concern that a largely undisclosed unlocking method in safes might represent a broader security risk. They initially went searching for the mechanism behind the Liberty Safe backdoor that had caused a backlash against the company in 2023 and found a relatively straightforward answer. Liberty Safes keep a reset code for every safe and, in some cases, makes it available to law enforcement. Yeah. So enter a recovery code into the lock set to 999999 by default. Wow. And then there's Code Snatch, a second technique the user or the researchers developed, which they call Code Snatch, is more straightforward. By removing the battery from a Securum ProLogic lock and inserting a small handheld tool that they made with a Raspberry Pi mini computer into an exposed debug port inside, they can extract a supercode combination from the lock that's displayed on all their tools' screens and can be used to immediately open the lock. Yikes. Let's keep going. The next article is over in FourWheelTech, and that's a show on Sundays. From Vespas to Volkswagens, this classic car auction has something for everyone. The article is over at Jalopnik. Matthew DeBoard put the article together. And it's Mecum is putting 295 cars and other types of vehicles under the hammer on September 20th to the 21st. The lots belong to the Claremont Collections Automotive Museum. Second K is not a typo. It's just clever, they say in the article. So now you can get an old Vespa, a bunch of other cars. There are 11 Cadillacs, with the showpiece being a 1959 Eldorado Biarritz, sporting a Desert Rose paint job and all chrome, tail fins, white walls, with legendary designer Harley Earl could muster. The oldest vehicle is a no-reserve auction of an 1899 Mobile Steamer Roadster that did indeed run on Steam and was acquired by the museum in 2024. A horse-drawn hearse dates to 1844. Interesting. More serious gearheads might be drawn to the 1961 Ford Mustang Mach 1 Fastback, an unrestored example, or a 1954 Corvette that was restored to the same tune, or to the tune of $100,000. And if you just want something awesome and used, there's a bright Aqua 1992 convertible that might end up being something of a steal. Pretty neat. Let's keep going. Next article is over in the Continuity Report, which is a show on Saturday. Air Bud returns, launches national search for Good as Boy. If you're a non-equity actor looking for a big break, and you're also a literate dog with a Vulture subscription, because this is sourced from Vulture, this is the story for you. The team behind Air Bud Returns launched a nationwide search for the next Air Bud talent. The 2026 revisit will be written and directed by Robert Vince, the filmmaker who made the original Air Bud back in 1997. Vince and lead animal trainer Mark Forbes laid out the requirements for a would-be buddy in the video announcement, saying that they're looking for a dog who is a purebred golden retriever. I guess that's a genes thing. The 2026 revisit. I guess Airbud is back, but they're looking for a dog. So thespian golden retrievers can submit their headshots to returns.airbud.com along with a 60 to 90 second self-tape video in which they perform basic commands: sit, stay, come, running, jumping, playing tricks, going full on John Wick, eliminating humans because they stole they stole his doghouse and deleted the human, right? That's how it works. If you flip the script of John Wick. So if Airbud Returns' marketing team knows anything about anything, they'll surely compile the cutest auditions for the public to watch. The casting call is for dogs only, so actors who specialize in playing golden retriever types are out of luck. Next article is over in FourWheelTech, and that's a show on Sunday. Talks about automotive technology. Maine Lobster Festival tries to stop a food truck from selling lobster rolls and moves it next to the toilets where the owner refuses. Multiple food truck operators have accused the Maine Lobster Festival of trying to stop them from selling lobster rolls at the Lobster Festival. So why have them? Colin Woodard over at jalopnik.com put the article together. According to Bangor Daily News, multiple food truck operators have accused the Maine Lobster Festival of trying to stop them from selling lobster rolls at the Lobster Festival, which Richard Curtis, who operates the Mac Attack food truck in Sierra Cook, refused to do so. He told the newspaper the festival had moved his truck behind an inflatable bouncy castle next to some porta potties. Amato's food truck owner, Omar Hajaisi, also told the paper the festival informed him that he would have to hand over $8 for every lobster roll he sold, and if he didn't, they'd block his food truck with something large enough to hide it from festival goers. They say, "I'm a generational fisherman. Lobster is our mascot, and lobster is a big item on our menu," Curtis told the Daily News. So they say it's all about the money. Yeah. The $8 festival demanded for every roll Amato sells. That's a difference between $30 where they're selling lobster rolls and $22 that Amato charges for its lobster rolls. As for punishing the offending food truck operators by moving them to undesirable location, that appears to be because the festival doesn't have the authority to dictate vendors' menus, but it does have the power to decide where they can locate their trucks. Wow. So don't go. Like, all of the vendors should rise up together and just don't go. But somebody will always scab their way in. That's okay. The next article is over in Prime Glass, which is a show about photography. Relocation of popular public sculpture called off after Vancouver residents claimed that it would block their views. The dispute over the future location of Trans Am Raptor has prompted dueling petitions, with municipal governments calling off the reinstallation to find a new site. Or the reinstallation. So the article is over at theartnewspaper.com. I don't know who wrote it. Adani Dittmers. Basically, it's a big stump with a whole bunch of cars sitting on it. Trans Ams, I guess. And they're going to relocate it, but people are not interested in this totem, Trans Am Totem. A 33-foot tall sculpture originally titled Trans Am Totem was renamed Trans Am Raptor. That consists of 5 salvaged cars stacked atop the trunk of an old-growth cedar that was initially installed temporarily as part of the 2014-16 Vancouver Biennial. In 2019, Chip Wilson, the local philanthropist and founder of the Lululemon athletic apparel company, donated $250,000 Canadian to save the sculpture and make it part of the city's permanent art. The work suffered damage after pigeons took up residence inside it, and in 2021 it was dismantled and removed from its original northeast False Creek location on Quebec Street's median for cleaning and repair, and I guess just never really made it back. 4 years later, After the city and artists finally agreed on a new home, everybody says no. Next article is over in Non Sequitur News. 110 million years pierced in 2 bankruptcies, the rise, fall, return, and fall again of mall icon Claire's. Mall boutique Claire's, it used to be Claire's Boutique, just became Claire's, I believe, filed for its second bankruptcy with plans to shut 700 locations as it faces a possible liquidation. The brand, which started as a wig shop in the 1960s, became a rite of passage for many tweens looking to pierce their ears. After a 2018 bankruptcy, Claire's briefly surged in 2022 with IPO plans and a profitable year before things went south. Kind of a bummer. I used to work in a place across the way from a Claire's. That place was packed. Alice Takotsky and Henry Chandonnet put the article together over at BusinessInsider.com. And Claire's origins trace back to 1961 and a wig store. Roland Schaefer founded wig retailer Fashion Tress Industries in 1961, according to a 1965 advertisement listed on eBay. FTI wigs were made for busy women who have to look their best at a moment's notice. In 73, the wig industry waned. Schaefer purchased a small Midwest chain called Claire's Boutiques. Schaefer eventually sold off the wig industry and renamed his company Claire's Stores. Claire's, at one point in the mid-1990s, had more than 1,000 retail outlets. The chain became a mall staple, notable for its focus on the preteen and teen audience. Stores featured bright colors, prices that kids could afford. Everybody went there and got their ears pierced. Claire's was a beloved ear-piercing spot among tweens. The store was known for its cheap, colorful jewelry. How it could go out of business other than people aren't going there anymore. I've seen more people go into tattoo shops to get pierced than into Claire's at this point. Well, I mean, nowadays. But I don't see, there's no malls. People don't go to malls, so they're fewer and farther between. In 2007, the family accepted a take-private offer from Apollo Global Management for $3.1 billion. At the time, the company had more than 3,000 stores. The decision to sell the company that their father founded was reached after an enormous amount of soul searching. Money. So, and that's really it, right? In March of 2018, Claire's Boutique filed bankruptcy 11 for the first time, saddled with $2 billion in debt. The retailer announced that it would close 92 stores across America at the time, and said it had been hit by declining traffic in malls. And I agree. And it would continue. But I think that it would have been fine if they would have just let it cook. The moment that they sold it to an investor, right? That Apollo Global Management, right? It's a private equity company. And so they'll not treat it with a respect that it deserves. They'll just suck money out of it and not really make it an ongoing concern. They just want to kind of suck whatever money they can, profitability out of it. And when times go lean, there isn't anything there. And they're not going to reinvest. They're just going to let it die on the vine. And I can see. So let's keep going. The next article is over. And this is what happens with private equity all the time. All the time. So FourWheelTech is where the next article is. Plane cabin fills with toxic smoke as a power bank catches fire over the ocean, hours away from landing. Luckily, a flight attendant put out the portable phone charger fire pretty quickly with an extinguisher, and the flight continued on its destination. But it's a power bank, not a charger. But it says charger in the little snippet. Colin Woodard put the article together. And it says here, a recent KLM flight showed us just one of the reasons after a power bank caught fire, filling the cabin with toxic smoke while the plane was still over the Atlantic Ocean, hours from its destination. Good thing is the plane itself didn't catch fire, and the flight attendant was able to put out the portable phone charger. Again, that's different than a battery bank, but okay. But there are reasons. Power bank. Oh, well, I can't pronounce that right. I don't know what language that is. Smoke was detected on board due to a burning power bank. The crew quickly extinguished the device following established safety procedures. Yeah, it's very dangerous. Lithium batteries are pretty much everything now, making battery fires much, much bigger problems for airlines than they used to be. Yeah, there's a lot of power that's stored inside a battery bank. And when lithium catches on fire, it basically is a thermal runaway and kicks out all kinds of horrible smoke. But let's keep on going. The last article for today is over in FourWheelTech. Adorable electric microlino nearly somersaults in emergency brake test. It's adorable. At least you can slam on the brakes until you slam on the brakes. The article is by Logan K. Carter. It's these little microlinos are like little two-person cars that the front opens up and you climb out of them from the front. But according to this, they can flip. Microlino's response to the video is, "We are unable to reproduce the results in the numerous approval tests at the external testing company, nor in our internal tests. Of course, we'll analyze the car in detail to get to the bottom of the matter." It says its figures are actually pretty respectable. It's 99.17 inches long, 58 inches wide, 59 inches tall, so it's about 6 inches shorter than the second generation Smart 4.2, 7.5 inches narrower and 2.2 inches shorter in height. Price-wise, microlinos can cost upwards of 18,000 pounds. That's crazy. So they aren't especially cheap to buy, but Car Magazine UK said that in their review that the microlino, it feels a cut above its primary competitors, the Citroën Ami and the Renault Twizy. Plus, it's achingly chic. So does the price really matter when the car looks this special? Yeah, you open the front to get out of it, and it just seems weird to me. 16.6 horsepower rear-mounted electric motor, and the fastest version can go 56 miles per hour. Has a range of 110 miles downhill in a hurricane. Well, anyway, we're going to get back into our microlino, and that's going to bring us back to the front page of ohmTown, where you should go and sign in, become a citizen, and gather all the news and none of the noise. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.